Good morning. Welcome to another Theory Thursday. Today we're going over a pretty cool concept, I think, at least, why context matters in music. So when you learn an instrument for the first time, especially guitar, you're going to learn a certain set of chords first. Okay? Usually it's G, D, E minor, C. Okay? And everything you're learning, music and pop songs and whatever, it's all within this bubble of the key of G, okay? And all of those things you're playing, all those chords, makes your ear think, okay, G is tonic, G is home, okay? But the only reason your ear thinks that is because everything around it. What happens when you change everything around it? Does G still sound like tonic? Okay, that's what we're talking about today. While I let that get wrapped around your head and let that soak in, I got my Casio 230GA on, and I'm not wearing a tie today. Blasphemous. So, yeah. Of course, if you've been liking and enjoying these videos, I love making them. So you can hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and then that little bell icon there will let you know when new videos are posted and all that good stuff. Stay in the loop. So, without further ado, why context matters. Let's go. Hey, welcome back to the whiteboard. Today we're talking about why context in your music matters and why maybe you should start learning how to play chords leading into other chords and maybe stuff that you might not even think to play, but maybe you should. Let's talk about it. So first of all, what the heck do I mean by context? Well, let's take a chord you probably already know. Let's look at G, right? You can play it down on the 3rd fret. Cowboy chord has open strings, like a classic open chord. Now, you know how to play it. And no doubt if you're learning guitar, or you probably remember learning, first things you probably learned were the G, the D, the E minor, and the C, right? Because that's all within the key of G. It's all open chords, and there's no bars or anything. So it's usually how people start out, is in the key of G. Okay, so when you learned G, you probably went G, and then probably to D, or to C, or to E minor, right? And leading into G, you probably either had a D or a C or an E minor, right? Okay, so that is all fine and dandy and whatever. The context that this G is, right? Everything around it is what gives this context, is acting as a 1 chord. It's acting as the tonic, okay? So because of this, because of the D chord, because of the C chord, because of the E minor, when you hear G, you hear, okay, we're home. We did it. We're at the end of a progression. We can end the song on this chord, okay? Because of all the other stuff around it. That's what gives your ear context, okay? So if this was a D7 going to G, that'd be great, right? But this whole thing changes, right? If this was a G7 going to a C. Now what's up with that? All I did was add a 7 on here and added a C. And all of a sudden this is a 5 chord and this is the 1 chord, right? Now this is acting as the dominant. And guess what? You don't even need to have a 7 on here. Let's say we're playing along, we have a G, a C, we have an F, we have an A minor, right? All of these chords mixed up together gives your ear the context that we're in the key of C right now, right? This is the 1 chord. This is the 4 chord, minor 6, and this is the 5, okay? So when you play all of these chords together and you finally make it to G, your ear is going to go, that's not the end, right? We need one more chord, please. One more. We need to make it to home. We need to make it to the 1 chord, the tonic, right? So that's context. And let's go a step further, okay? 1 chord, 5 chord, right? Let's take it out of a key. Let's say you're playing along in the key of A, right? A is the 1 chord. My light bulb just went out. Hold on. That was weird. Let's say you're playing along in the key of A, right? 1 chord, the 4 chord, 5. What the heck is going on? Okay, hopefully this stays. 1, 4, 5, minor 6, right? We're playing along. How does G fall into this, right? It's the same chord we were playing earlier. Earlier it was the 1 chord. And then we looked at it as it being the 5 chord, the dominant, right? What if you play G in all of this mess, right? Now what is it? The flat 7. Okay? What the heck? 1 sec. Okay, we're gonna try this light for a second. Okay, flat 7. Now you definitely can't end the song here, right? It's taken completely out of the key, but my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna turn on. Is there another lamp I can turn on? Okay, there might be some glare over here, but I'm in the middle of this video. I can't figure out the light bulb thing. So, context. Flat 7, right? Completely out of the key. So, what are we talking about here? You have 1 singular chord can serve so many purposes just given the context around the chord. Okay, that's why it's so vital to understand keys, right? What are the uses of the chords you're actually playing, right? You learn G. That's great at the beginning of your journey. But now how do you use this in different contexts? Okay? So I'm going to play all of these examples here. So I'm going to play it as if it's a 1 chord. I'm going to play it as if it's a 5 chord. And I'm going to play it as if it's a flat 7 chord. Okay? All G. It's all the same chord. But everything around it changes the use for it, right? The context around it changes the use for it. All right? I'll meet you over with my guitar. Okay, I got my guitar here. Let's first listen to this G chord. Okay? Let's play it as if it's a 1 chord in the key of G. Right? You can end the song there. You can end a progression there. Right? That's very clearly the 1 chord to your ears. Right? You can hear that, the context of it. Everything around it is pointing to this chord being the tonic, the 1 chord. Okay, now let's change the context around it. Let's start playing in C's, A minors, and F's. Right? So there's your chord. And now let's change everything around it. And all of a sudden, C is your tonic. Right? We've changed the context. So the G, you can't, it's dominant. It's the 5 chord now. And your ear wants to go a little bit farther to end it on a C. Okay? That's just, we're not changing the chord at all. We're changing everything around it. And it gives context to the chord. Okay, let's do this last one. The flat 7 chord. If you have heard songs like Sweet Home Alabama, right? That is is one of the most popular songs that uses the flat 7, right? Because we're in the key of D. And you're playing a C chord, which is not in the key of D. Okay, anyway, let's get back to G. G. Focus, John. Okay, so in the context of A major, there's no G chord, right? There's A, B minor, C minor, D, E, F minor, F sharp minor, G sharp, diminished, back to A. Okay, so we're changing that D or G sharp diminished to a G major. Okay, I'm going to play it the same way I've been playing it the other two examples, just this regular cowboy chord. Okay, so let's hear what this sounds like. I'm going to go A, okay? You can't end the progression on that G. Right? Completely different sound. Right? Because you're a whole step away from what your ear says is the tonic. Right? That's where your ear wants to go. So you can't end it on a G, right? So that's just a little bit of information about context and a few examples. So what you're playing does matter, and the order you're playing chords in, and picking and choosing how to substitute chords out. It all matters because it all gives context to whatever you're playing. And it's true with every chord. Like I just picked one and played around it, right? But every single chord you're playing, it's getting its context from everything around it, okay? So that's why it's important to know what you're doing and what kind of sounds you're giving your listeners, okay? So I think that's enough information for today. It's a cool concept, changing everything around a single chord to give it different context. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll do my best to get to all of them, and we'll see you for the next one.